And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Ashley Chisholm for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we hear of the life and ministry of Elmer E. Andross.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On July 25, 1901, Elmer E. Andross set sail from England to attend a meeting of the Central European Conference. Andross was born in 1868. After tent efforts conducted by H.W. Decker, Andross became a Seventh-day Adventist in 1885. By 1888, he was assisting Decker in those tent efforts. In 1889, Elmer married Sophie Miller, and they lived in California, where they had two sons, Ellsworth and Cillian. The family traveled to England in 1899, where Elmer served as an evangelist, then as president of the North England Conference, and then as British Union Conference president. They returned to the States in 1908 due to Sophie's ill health, and Elmer spent the next decade as president of two union conferences and one conference. Sadly, Sophie died in 1917. In 1918, Andross was elected vice president of the General Conference for North America, equivalent today to North American Division president. He remarried in 1920 to Matilda Erickson, a long-term worker in the General Conference's Missionary Volunteer Department. In 1922, the Androsses went to Panama to help organize and then run the Inter-America Division. They spent 14 years there. In 1936, Elmer Andross was elected as a field secretary for the General Conference, based out of Maryland. In 1941, he retired, but returned to service as president of the Caribbean Union for more than a year before he and Matilda retired a second time, returning home to Maryland. He died in 1950 and Matilda in 1957. This brief overview of his career proves true what he wrote in 1901 about serving abroad. We have never been sorry that we came to this field, but rather 1,000 times thankful. How glad I should be to see hundreds of those now laboring in the home field get out into the regions beyond, with a message that God has committed to us, not for Americans, but for every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. The church's home fields have now grown to encompass far more than just the United States. But Andross's words still ring true for all Adventists today, 120 years after Andross sailed as part of his duties during This Week in Adventist History.